IRS suggesting bigger refunds? Really? Hey, my name is George Jackson, G.I. Jackson, and I'm here covering blue collar related news and cash flow tips. And today I found a very fascinating article out of MSN.com. I think it actually referenced Newsweek, and it highlights and basically explains how the IRS is suggesting that people may get bigger refunds because of the big, beautiful bill that was just passed recently. So let's go into this article and see what they're talking about. Here it says IRS update: taxpayers will likely receive a larger refunds next year. And so for those, if you've heard about it, they get the big beautiful bill, and this happens. This suggestion is related to the changes in how overtime will be taxed. They actually, the IRS is going to tax. Actually, they're going to allow an additional deduction for overtime wages. And basically, how that works is this: for a single person, they will allow $12,500 deduction, or double that for a couple. And basically, so when you work qualified overtime, the time and a half, you won't pay taxes. That the half portion of the time and a half will go into making up that extra deduction that you can use on your adjusted gross income. So that's the big changes they made with the big beautiful bill, or whatever it's called, and how overtime will be taxed. So this will help reduce some of the taxes that you have on overtime. May even help just overall. But let's see why the IRS suggests that taxpayers will likely receive a larger refund next year. So here it talks about the big beautiful bill, and so basically they're still trying to figure out how they're going to process all this stuff moving forward in the tax year of 2026. The IRS wrote that announcement as part of the phased implementation of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. There are no changes in certain information of returns or withholding. These decisions are intended to avoid disruptions in the tax filing season and give the IRS and business tax prep professionals enough time to implement the changes effectively. So this means Americans will continue paying taxes on tips and overtime for the time being. So nothing's going to change on what you're holding right now, but they will receive them back as part of the refund, according to Newsweek. The Americans that are impacted by this can expect higher than average refunds due to the additional withholdings. However, that does not help them today. Additionally, with new tax changes, it can stand to reason that some of these individuals may need to hire a CPA, which will come at an additional cost to make sure that they are refunded what they deserve. So let's go back to this. So basically, they haven't changed. The IRS is going to retroactively start applying this to the tax year, this tax year. But since they ain't got all the paperwork and stuff worked out, the W-2 forms and all that stuff, your withholding and your tax rate. I mean, how the federal taxes that are taken out is not going to change right now. But what happens when you go to file your taxes next year? When you go to file your taxes next year, they will apply all the changes that come from the big beautiful bill. And then if you've worked a number of overtime, you could possibly expect a bigger refund because you were withheld at a higher rate than you really should have. It's basically in simple language. Let's continue going. Nothing will change with these workers until the IRS revises its W-2. They expect to do so in 2026. So until then, money still comes out of the check each pay period, according to this professor in NC State. She would not be surprised if this is extended due to how complicated the change. So they may take them a while to get all this stuff worked out. paperwork wise. I'm not even 100% how they will handle it next year. I think they are just kicking it to the next year, but this is something that may not ever be figured out. Withholding, blah blah blah. So if individuals use a standard withholding, the tax will continue being withheld as normal. That does not mean they actually file the tax returns. They will get a refund for the taxes that does mean when they actually file their tax returns, they will get a refund for taxes that paid. So, and they're expecting, because of all this complications, we need to file our taxes as early as possible. According to Newsweek, an immediate impact of this announcement for taxpayers is to provide some certainty about whether they can expect changes to withholding and information reporting in the near term, which risks sparking confusion and mix-ups given the changes that would be happening in the middle of the tax year they apply to. Part of the reason for this delay is because the IRS and Treasury will still need to separate out eligible overtime deductions in the reporting and withholding, along with tipping deduction, withholding, and associated rules, which may take more time. Now, I didn't cover tipping. I may do a separate video on tipping. Me personally, I'm a blue collar worker, so overtime applies to me. So that's what caught my attention. Trade-off is taxpayers are eligible for deductions for overtime and tipped income. Oh, okay, they're just talking about this. They're going to see that next year. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So, yeah, so that's pretty interesting. So basically, in a nutshell, is that the IRS is saying that the changes are going to start. It's going to start in the middle of this year, but because it's so confusing to change all of your withholding and your W-2 and your W-4s and all that stuff, everything will go as it has before, but when you file your taxes next year, they'll apply those extra overtime deductions that many workers are going to expect, and that could give them a bigger refund, which would be exciting. It'd be exciting. So, of course, it's going to make things more complicated. So you'll need either read up on your tax game or find a good tax person. And that's one of the things I love, that being an associate of MyEcon, we have a partnership with a great group of tax people that will, and I'll tell you more about this as the end of the year comes up, but we have a partnership with a great group of tax professionals that will do everything is consulted online, done online, and it's processed for you, safe and secure and accurate. They've been in the tax business, I want to say close to 20 years, but I'll tell you a little more about that. But that's that's a group I'm definitely going to go into, because taxes can be complicated. The U.S. tax system is no joke. It is no joke. So I value the expertise of a tax professional. The other thing that also reminds me of is the need to use a strategy called income shifting. And now I'm not going to get into a whole lot into it now, but income shifting is a process where you basically shift your money. Instead of being over withheld or overtaxed, you take that money and you put it towards your debts, you put it towards your savings and investments. And many people implement, there's many steps to income shifting, but the first step is just adjusting your W-4 to keep from being over withheld. And the reason why most people are over withheld because you get a refund. That's how you get a refund in the first place. But because MyEcon associates start their own home-based business, sharing their products and services with other people, they get additional benefits that will lower their taxable income. So we show people how to lower their withholding, lower their taxes, and they take that money that was sending to DC and put it back in their pocket, put it back into their savings, put it back into their paying off debt. And in fact, let me show you an example of someone who did this.
We are the McBrides, and we have been a part of this wonderful company, My Econ, for 6 years. We are both EVP Infinities with the company. We use Strategy 1, which is cash flow. We cash flow, me and my wife, back $750 back by correcting our W-4s. We took that money and I paid off $12,000 in back child support debt, and we've been using that money to build wealth and start investing.
Yes, once we've learned that strategy of taking the money and that we were getting from our paying to our taxes, we've now been able to pass that generational wealth down to our children, and not only will our children benefit, but so will our children's children. Thank you.
Man, that's incredible stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's all about increasing your cash flow, whether you're working overtime, whether you got a side hustle at home. Life ain't getting no cheaper. So if you want to learn more about income shifting and what it can do for you, I'll leave the link in the description of this video. If you find this fascinating about the changes to the overtime rules, give me a like and subscribe. And especially if you want to hear more blue collar and cash flow tips as well. And let me know in the comments if you are looking for a tax professional. Yeah, because if you're looking for help with your taxes, if you're looking for a professional that will help you with that coming into next year, hey, let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Share this if you think this will help somebody, and I will holler at you later. Peace.